Emma sat by the window, staring at the raindrops as they slid down the glass. Her mind was a maze of thoughts, some small, others enormous, but all of them overwhelming. She'd always been the type to overthink everything, from the smallest decisions like what to wear to work, to the larger questions about her future. But recently, the weight of her thoughts had become unbearable. It wasn't always this way. There was a time when Emma could let things go, when she didn't dwell on every word spoken or every action taken. But as the years passed, life became more complicated. The decisions seemed bigger, the stakes higher. What if she made the wrong choice? What if things didn't turn out the way she hoped? The what-ifs spun in her mind like a carousel one rainy afternoon. As Emma was sitting at her favorite coffee shop, she bumped into an old friend from college, James. They hadn't seen each other in years, but after a warm hug, they fell into easy conversation. As they talked, Emma couldn't help but notice how calm and at ease James seemed. It was as if nothing could shake him. Curious, Emma asked, "James, how do you stay so calm? You don't seem to overthink things like I do." James chuckled softly. "I used to be just like you, Emma, always in my head, worrying about every little thing. But then I learned something that changed my life." Emma leaned in, eager to hear more. "Do you know what I realized?" James continued. "I realized that overthinking is like carrying a backpack full of rocks. Every thought, every worry is another rock that we add to the pack. And before we know it, we're so weighed down that we can barely move. But the thing is, most of those rocks aren't even real. They're just fears and doubts that we've created in our minds." Emma nodded, understanding exactly what he meant. "So, what did you do?" she asked. "I started taking the rocks out of the backpack," James said with a smile. "Every time I caught myself overthinking, I asked myself one simple question. Is this thought helping me, or is it holding me back? If it wasn't helping, I let it go. I also learned to focus on what I can control and let go of what I can't. It's not easy, but with practice, it becomes second nature." Emma thought about this for a moment. It seemed so simple, yet so profound. Could it really be that easy to stop overthinking? That night, as Emma lay in bed, her mind began to race with the usual thoughts. But this time, she remembered James's words. She imagined each thought as a rock in her backpack. One by one, she asked herself if the thought was helping her or holding her back. And one by one, she began to set the rocks down as the days went by. Emma practiced this technique whenever she felt overwhelmed by her thoughts. She would pause, breathe, and ask herself that simple question. Slowly but surely, the weight began to lift. She found herself more present, more at peace, and more in control of her life. Of course, there were still days when the thoughts crept back in, when the old habits of overthinking tried to take over. But now, Emma knew how to handle them. She had learned the power of letting go, of not carrying the weight of 1,000 thoughts on her shoulders, and in doing so, she found a freedom she hadn't known in years. Freedom to live, to enjoy the moment, and to trust that everything would be okay, even if she didn't have all the answers.